We want to talk about the implications of, the SCOTUS decision, obviously very key for Trump's team now moving forward. But we have also President Joe Biden on Saturday speaking to reporters as he exited for Camp David. And he says basically he can't think of one reason why presidents should receive immunity in criminal prosecution. This, of course, as Biden himself faces his own challenges with the impeachment inquiry. Bernie, I'll start with you. When we hear the president speak like this, and, obviously it is election season, how damaging is it that the media will pick up this and play this as well as part of the narrative now?
Well, the mainstream media is going to use this just as they do everything else. It's another attack on the president, President Trump, and it's a continuation of what they've been doing for the last 3 years. So it shouldn't surprise anyone. I'm glad that the decision was kicked back to the courts, to the appellate court. They're not going to look at it in the Supreme Court. That'll give him time. I think there's probably about a 90% chance that this will now continue on beyond the election date. I think that's a possibility. So I think at this point, let the chips fall where they may. But I think President Biden, he should probably, for his own better sake, keep his mouth shut because, he's got his own issues forthcoming, and I'm sure they're going to be far, far greater than anything Donald Trump was, charged with.
Yeah, and when we look at this ruling by SCOTUS with Jack Smith, there really wasn't a reason to expedite it, Barack. There wasn't anything in the brief filed that really gave a reason. So some say it's a fitting ruling, but obviously one now that a lower court will decide. How do you think that court will decide now that, we know that it has to be based on appeal?
Right. The reason why the Supreme Court rejected it, it was because there was a leapfrog effort on the part of the appellate process for this immunity issue. And so now the Supreme Court basically said, look, no, just let this go through the normal course and let the federal appellate court decide this. And they will decide it. And I think they should decide it in President Trump's favor, simply because it is clearly within the scope of a presidential act and the administration, generally speaking. And then secondly, the fact that there was no conviction. In fact, you can argue that he was fully acquitted of all these charges because he was impeached, which is the presidential equivalent of an indictment. But the Senate did not convict him at the end of the day. So therefore, you could say this would be double jeopardy and it would be inappropriate. So there's many reasons why the appellate court should, in fact, reject the Jack Smith's argument and allow the immunity aspect of it as well, but also to say that this case is over. He's already been acquitted, double jeopardy. So I think Bernie's right on target about this as well. The timing of this was designed. The only reason why Jack Smith went to the Supreme Court in the first place was because his emergency was that he wanted to have this heard before the election.
Right.
That's not a good enough reason.
No. And we know a case that will probably end up in front of the Supreme Court is all of these 14th Amendment, Colorado's decision to ban Trump from the ballot. 25 other states have filed lawsuits to try and do the same. And we know that Republican lawmakers, Bernie, in North Carolina say they're working to ensure now that their state board of elections doesn't reverse course and end up accepting this petition to keep Trump off the ballot. The State House Speaker Tim Moore told Newsmax that on Sunday. So obviously that is another concern. People believe this is complete lawfare when they see Trump being pulled off the ballot there for insurrection in a Supreme Court ruling in Colorado when he was never charged, never convicted, no due process.
Yeah, you know what? This is, besides the lawfare thing, this is sheer desperation by the Democrats. That's all it is. They're trying everything and anything physically possible to keep him off the ballots, put him behind bars, make him disappear, anything. That's what they're looking for. Anything they can do to stop him from running, because if he runs, he's going to win. They know that. They know it. So they're going to cheat, steal, do everything in their everything possible to keep him from running and getting over the election line.